I got an email a while back from Gabriel Ortiz, who has a YouTube channel, which I will put a link down below for if you want to check out his music. But he was asking me questions about the concert video I put up, and I told him, why don't we do a Zoom call? I asked if I could record it, and we had some really good conversations. And today, I want to show a little bit of that because we got into talking about artists and dealing with when you're a small venue, how do you work with artists, paying artists, if when can you pay them? Is there times that you don't pay them? And also, we get into really just the music business and the ego around artists and what really happens with them. It's something that I've thought about a lot because I've dealt with it a lot on the small level and the large level.
I believe in it a lot too. Helping out my small artists
Mm-hmm.
who definitely deserve a lot more of attention. Like that's kind of my idea. Is this whole time that I've been thinking about the venue, I'm like, okay, I can't wait to get my buddies in there and all
Yeah.
the people that I've met so far, so I can help them push their career. But I'm worried that like I might not make me enough money to keep providing it,
Right.
or it might, people might love them, and I might be like helping them be a pioneer in their own career in a way
Right.
too.
It is very hard and difficult to understand. I don't know about your area. I will say, in my area, Peoria, Illinois, there is a huge cockiness to what people think they should be getting paid in the music industry around
Mm.
here. We have a few colleges in the area, and some of them kind of tell kids like you shouldn't play anywhere unless you're getting paid $150 for the night, which is ridiculous because most of those professors, they don't get paid that, but they're telling these kids who have no experience, have no connections, to essentially tick everybody off in the industry by saying they need to get paid more.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a good like group of people who understand that, hey, I can't really pay you anything right now. We're trying to get this venue going. I will do my best, give you what I can and help you out, but can't keep providing this place if it's not running anymore. And you may get people who say, like, tell you to screw off and say, like, they deserve to get paid a certain amount. And then you might get other people who say, like, I get it. And I want, I want this place to do well.
Yeah.
So
But
it just depends. Yeah.
in that situation, well, like, how do you determine if they should get paid or not? Based on is it based on like what they request, or also like, would you, for those small bands who you're like, we can't really pay you guys, would you not even give them like a bit of the liquor sales, even like 10% of it?
Oh, give them like a door deal. Like if it's a small group, like if
Mm.
they really don't have a big name for themselves, I would say you get 50% of the door. And then like if they bring in 3 people, well that's their worth. Like they're only worth 2 people. But if they bring in 400 people, they're making a good amount. Depending on the artist, they don't want to be held to their own popularity. Like they just want to get paid anyway because I'm so brilliant, I better get paid for this. But
Yeah.
you'll also have the people who get it like, hey, I brought in 10 people, I obviously don't have a following, so I need to build that up, and the best way to build that up is to play somewhere and start getting people to notice you.
Yeah.
So it's a hard line to walk. And I even saw somebody, they commented on the video, this was just the worst thing in the world, that you're paying this band $20,000 and yet you're not paying the opening act. And it's like, yeah, because they're playing next to a successful band who's been playing for like 40 years. Like I
Yeah.
sorry, like, and one of the instances I had is, it's a good friend of mine. He wanted to play for that funk band I was talking about. He's like, I want to open for them because that'd be perfect. And he said, we charge $2,000. And I just said, are you joking? And he was like, no. And I sent him back like, okay, like if you're really coming in with that, I just want you to know you'll never play here.
Oh.
And he was super pissed because some of the guys in the band are like professors at the local college. And he's like, they're amazing. Like they deserve to get paid. And I'm like, yeah. So if you guys are the opening act, we will sell out the venue. If you're not the opening act, we're still going to sell out the venue.
Yeah.
So you have no value. And he's like, no, we do. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like,
Hmm.
you don't understand that you aren't bringing anything in. And sure, they may have some people who could come for them, but if those people didn't come, someone else would have bought those tickets anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like, do you want the exposure because you're going to get to play to a packed audience and everybody gets to know who you are? And then those people who like this funk band will say, oh man, but that other funk band was really good and they're playing like tonight or, this week at whatever place. And he just couldn't see, he couldn't get past that. Like he couldn't understand that, his band wasn't important. And it's a struggle. It's a real struggle to understand that when you've been told that you need to get paid a certain amount all the time.
That's so,
When
yeah, true. It's always the people. It's always like for my internship that I'm
Mhm.
part of. It's at a music magazine. My boss always tells us that we always get a lot of bad submissions for his record deal, and he's like, it's always these kids who like only their family members tell them, "Oh, you're doing so good," so they're trash, but they keep pushing it because they only hear
Yes.
good things.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, I always call that the hometown hero syndrome, where it's like drummers, I am a drummer and drummers have that terribly. When a drummer they play too much and they don't shut up and they're constantly doing fills and trying to impress everybody while like
Oh yeah,
the singer's trying to have like real like sentimental moment in this song, peeing all over the place, not like paying
yeah.
attention. But then their parents are like, oh, they're so good. They're so good. They're not playing what they should, but since you love them, yeah, I guess they're good, even though they're not. But yeah, and that
Yeah.
happens. And then those people like go to college and they don't understand why they're not the top drummer or the top musician at their school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because it really raises this idea of, the music industry side of things business wise, and how, it's really using the artists as the tool to bring in consumers,
Right.
customers, and people, artists love to believe, that like, oh, I'm gonna live the dream. I'm gonna be put on all the popular venues all around.
Hmm.
Great if they're able to do it on their own and with their own team, that is able to get them there. But oftentimes, if they sign a deal, they just become the tool piece to bring in money for the record company.
Yeah. It's a nasty industry, honestly. We had a group, this band broke up years ago because the singer had a drug addiction and they
Hmm.
had gigs where he would show up on stage, couldn't sing, couldn't play guitar. He was so wasted and high. So they, after all these years, everybody's good, everybody's clean. Let's do a reunion tour. A month into the tour, the guy fell back into drinking and doing drugs. Same thing happened. They had a concert about 2 weeks before they came to our venue, and he was up on stage, couldn't do it. And the bass player just said, like, I'm done with this. And the rest of the band took all the equipment and the trailer and they drove off.
Dang,
Well,
they left him behind.
yeah, they left him. And
Ah, dang.
so that guy, he shows up to our venue with the drummer who took over for the original guy, like, and he's like a professor at a college. They called him up and was like, hey, can you do this tour? And he's yeah, I guess I can do a few weeks. And so he came. A bass player from another band who he got kicked out of this band for drinking too much. Long story short, I learned so quickly that watching the manager talk to this guy who ruined his career basically and turned away his band because he had all these problems. He was telling them the whole day, they're a bunch of idiots. They're not the talent. You're the talent, and you're the greatest thing that ever happened to the music industry. And he was going on. It's like this guy was famous like 15 years prior to this and has not really had success since. And this guy is building him up, telling him all these lies. And the guy just, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy because this guy literally needs help. Like he
Hmm.
needs to go to a rehab center. He needs help. And this tour manager is like, if this guy quits, I'm not getting paid. So I got to keep him going. And it's
Oh.
crazy, man. It's
Hmm.
pretty dark. It's pretty dark. There's some really great people out there too, but there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those out there. I mean, with your venue, you probably won't be dealing with that off the start. You're probably dealing with a lot of artists who don't have like managers and stuff.
Right.
which is probably a good thing because they can think for themselves a little better, and they don't have someone constantly telling them like, go to that venue guy and tell him you want more money or so, you know.
Right.
Yeah, we had a band one time who called us after we set up a deal, signed all the contracts, and then like a couple weeks later they had like a big hit on the radio, so they called us and said that we owe them more money. And we're like, yeah, that's not how this works. And they tried to say, well, we're not coming, and it's like, all right, well then you have to pay us. There's a contract signed, so you have to pay us money now. And so they
Mhm.
they did show up and they played the gig. I mean, it really wasn't them, it was their manager and
Oh
their
yeah.
people telling them that this is what they deserve.
But did that band have an increase in ticket sales since they got on the radio?
Not really. I mean, we're not Chicago, you know, like Chicago area
Mm,
probably, but in our area, it's just not as big of a demographic. It doesn't have as many people. So, I mean, the ticket sales kind of stayed the same. It didn't really go that far. I'm pretty sure whatever the deal was, had they sold out or gotten more tickets, they would have made more money.
yep.
So they should have just, I mean, however many months of tours they or dates they already had booked, they should have just finished it out. And then after that, like, you know, start asking for more money. They just, that's what a real professional would have done, but they just didn't
Right.
understand it. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. It definitely was something that Gabriel and I talked about for a really long time. And I think it's something that is not taught and is hard to understand for a lot of people. So thank you so much. If you like this, please subscribe, let me know, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.